This is a Wild Games Production podcast.
I know who you came here to be what you want in the game of D&D. Assassin, halfling, human, or rogue. Just gotta pick up all those dice and let's roll. We're rolling now for real. We're rolling now for real.
Welcome to Save or Die Expert Edition, the first and original classic D&D podcast.
Good evening, gamers. I'm DM James, and you're tuned into Save or Die Expert Edition. With me tonight is DM Vince.
Hello, folks.
TM Erik.
Hey there, folks.
And DM Glen.
That is one sexy voice you got going there, James.
Why, thank you, Glen. I do try.
Okay, just don't use it on me.
Well, I want to know
Hiya,
why,
folks.
I want to know why Tankar is TM.
Tavern
Trademark.
Master.
Oh,
Tavern
trademark.
Master.
Oh, tavern. I thought it was like a trademark issue going on.
No, Tavern Master. No, Tavern Master.
So we got to pay him $2 every time we say his name?
No way. I'm never saying his name.
That guy over there.
Him, the dwarf over there.
Trademarks and taverns aside, in this episode of Save or Die Expert Edition, we will be reviewing, discussing, and generally shooting the breeze about the newly released Swords and Wizardry Light, an ultralight, old-school role-playing game written by none other than the Tavern Master, Erik himself.
I feel like I'm on an old show of like Different Strokes. Last week, Arnold and Willis got in trouble.
But they learned a very important lesson.
I'm not going to be in the show long. I'm going to have a heart attack trying to keep from laughing.
Oh, man. Yes, as you can tell,
my
we're going to have a
goodness.
lot of fun here.
Too much fun. And Crispy isn't even here.
No one's
Me and
vomiting.
Crispy getting together doing this, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Folks, before we get started, all jokes aside, the four of us wanted to take a minute and thank DM Liz, DM Mike, and DM Jim for their years of hard work on Save or Die. They really put all their heart and a lot of love into the show, and we wish them the best and thank them for everything they did. Save or Die is still here. Just because we're at an expert edition on the end, it's not going to change the content of the show. We're still going to bring you the best in classic and new BX products and discussions, and really hope you'll stay with us and be part of the conversation and keep showing the love for Save or Die that you've shown for the past, 6 years?
Yeah. The show started in 2010 when I was approached by Mike and Liz to do this. Then we brought in Glenn later in the year. So Glenn and I are one of the, I guess, originals, you could say.
I keep waving and thinking people are going to see it.
Waving? What?
Yeah, you said DM Glen, I was waving. But yeah, it is,
Okay.
They for about 6 years, and they did a bang-up job, and, we wish them well in the next endeavors.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a related note, given the new lineup and kind of the title change, though the content itself will stay focused on BX D&D, the format might change a bit, and so things are a bit fluid right now. We might have some new segments. We might keep some old segments. We might change things up. We're really not quite sure. The only thing we are sure of is that we all really love BX, and we're going to keep talking about BX and its various incarnations and related products. So, Erik, since you're the mastermind behind S&W Light, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, to be honest with you, my initial thoughts when it came to Swords and Wizardry Light, or what became Swords and Wizardry Light, was that in the free time of recent retirement, I wanted to get something out to the gaming community that was an old school game with rules that would be familiar to lapsed gamers, easy for new gamers to understand, and something that modern gamers playing Pathfinder 5e, God forbid 4e, could actually look at and, yeah, I know, but look at and absorb. And I started stripping down the Swords and Wizardry white box rules. And I was talking with Zach Laser of Frog Art Games of what I was doing. And he's like, "Oh, that's a great idea. What are you trying to do with it?" I'm like, "I'm trying to see how, if I can cut it down to something a couple of pages long, something that could be viral, people could share it for free, maybe drop it off in stores or libraries." Yeah, it's a good idea. And then next thing I know, it's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Bill Webb and Matt Finch, Frog Art Games, they want to publish this." And then it became real. It became, oh yeah, that's when I was like, oh my God, this is legit. And it really focused me. And working with Zach, who did an amazing layout, working with James over here, who knows how to write games.
Wow.
Which obviously I don't. He came in and took what was presentable and made it awesome. So I really owe whatever success that this Swords and Wizardry Light is going to have to the people I worked with, because without them, it was just been, a hack of the Swords and Wizardry rules. But instead, it's become an official flavor of Swords and Wizardry, published by Frog Art Games, and that's just amazing.
It's amazing that you fit the entire what you needed to play on a matter of 4 pages. So
yeah,
4 pages,
3 levels.
3 levels. What was it? Humans, elves, dwarves, and halflings. You have 4 core classes, including the thief. About, I don't know, a score of monsters. Spells for the clerics and the magic users. It fit 4 pages.
Yeah.
That was, and that was the goal. And by the way, it's the print version, which you can get from Frog Art Games with any physical purchase. They'll throw it into your package. It gets mailed to you. It's pretty much like a laminated type of folder. So the idea is, if we can get some one sheets out in the coming months, you can just take your adventures, slip them into the rules, and wherever you travel, you have everything with you.
One thing I should mention, that if you have the PDF, which it's free, right?
It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Okay. Don't try and print it out at home, because if you print it out on 8x10 and then fold it, you can't read it.
Yeah, well, literally just today we put out a smaller version of the PDF. The original one was like 26, 27 megs.
Oh.
The new PDF is 3 megs. We also have the Word file for those that want to hack.
Ooh.
If you want to and that was important to me, because like the white box rules are available in a PDF, in a Word document or RTF document, that you can go in and hack and make your own house rule game that you can then distribute to your friends or whatever. I wanted something like that with Swords and Wizardry Light, and we got that out. Literally, it's in the folder.
The Dropbox folder, right?
It's it's a Bitly folder. It's linked on
I got
the Techers Tavern. You got the link? All right.
Yeah, I'll enter the show notes.
Put that
for
in
us.
show notes. Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll put that in show notes.
Excellent. But I also spoke with Zach, and we're going to try to get a PDF version that's actually 4 individual pages, so you could actually print out the PDF at home.
Okay.
That's smart. Yeah.
Which you can take that 4-page printout, slap it, get 2 paper clips, and slap it into like a manila folder, and have the same type of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to go. And the neat thing is, with the 4-page format, you set it up right. You got an instant DM screen with everything you need on it, and it's actually set up that way. The DM rules are all written to be on the interior, and all the player info on the exterior.
Right.
Yeah, that was actually Zach's idea, who's doing the layout, and he bounced it off me, and I was like, I wish I had thought of that, but I'm glad you did. Because it really is a nice way to set that up.
Well, did Zach ever tell you how I ended up being involved?
Besides the fact that we all know each other now.
He came to me at like 11:30 one night and is like, "I've got this awesome game. I need to pare it down to 4 pages and clean up the verbiage. Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me." And I was literally screen sharing with him, going, "Cut this word, move that word, rephrase this to that. It's one less character," like for like 3 hours. And that's how I ended up getting involved. And he's like, "I'll do anything for you, man. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?" And I was like, "Just give me a co-authorship credit. It's cool." And he was like, "Oh, dude, that's more than warranted. That's fine." And that's how I ended up being involved in the project.
Nice.
Well, listen, and just so you folks out there know, part of what we were trying to do was keep the rules familiar, but at the same time, pare things down. Spells like Wizard Lock and Knock are two sides of the same coin, which James saw and turned it into one spell that's reversible. So
yeah.
that is the joys of working with somebody who designs games for a living, as opposed to myself, who's a hack with ideas.
Yes, but very good ideas. And
yesterday's hack is tomorrow's,
slash.
So don't sell yourself short on that.
Well, again, the sum is certainly greater than the parts that were initially put in.
You guys did a bang-up job.
Thank you. No, it really was a joy to do.
So should we? Yes.
Go ahead, Glenn. No, go ahead.
No, I just thought of calling it Swords and Wizardry Light the Tinkar hack.
Well, Swords and Wizardry Light is his, so
right.
You don't need to call it the Tankar hack. It is Tankar's edition.
Yeah.
Okay. Stand corrected.
And Erik and I are actually working on a hack of a hack of a hack.
Oh yeah, it's true. That's right.
Yeah, taking Swords and Wizardry Light, and we're tentatively calling it Swords and Wizardry Extra Light. And the idea is to create a softcover saddle stitch digest book that's like 28 pages. That is all of Swords and Wizardry Light, plus expanded rules to include various optional classes, magic items, expand it to 7th level, and include enough of adventures to run an entire campaign in one book. So literally everything you need for like a year of gaming is in the book, and make it this thing that you can literally put in your pocket.
Extra Light makes it sound like it's going to be 2 pages instead of 4 pages. So.
Right.
Well,
right.
I know, but it's extra light because there's extra being added to.
So are we following like beers now, Erik? I mean, light, no extra light. Are we like Miller?
Well, I could hack like Swords and Wizardry Light Pilsner edition, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, God, and here I back the Kickstarter. What a dummy I am.
No doubt.
What the Swords and Wizardry Light Complete Kickstarter? You'll be getting a free copy.
Well, yeah. This month, the third edition, third printing, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I backed it. So
did I.
Good for you.
And when it ships, you'll have your Swords and Wizardry Light print edition.
Yes.
Included.
And a PDF. Yeah, I've got a one that my friend Matt printed from the PDF and bound himself that I've been using for all the.
I saw what that guy made up for you. He does some good job for printing and binding those things, dude.
Well, basically, somebody they showed you on Dragonsfoot, they showed you how to do it, and he took that article and he made Rule Cyclopedia, what we call working copies.
Right.
Off the PDF. Labyrinth Lord, too. When we were playing it, he'd make player copies. Here, look that up while I'm doing this type of thing. He was really good.
I remember the articles you're talking about, and I was like, this is damn tempting. And I was like, there's no way I'd ever get anything usable with my talent.
Yeah. I mean, I'd throw him $20 and a couple of PDFs. I said, here, make me books.
That's good.
And he would.
So why don't we discuss a little bit more about Sword and Wizardry Light and how it compares to Complete or White Box or...
Well, Light, the idea again was to keep it simple, stupid. So there's only 2 dice sizes that are involved in Swords and Wizardry Light, and that is D6 and a D20. So, that means all hit dice, even monster hit dice, is going to be D6. It means all damage is going to be rolled on a D6. Lighter weapons are at -1.
So,
heavy weapons are +1.
So you're kind of doing the Holmes approach to it, or actually Sword and Wizard, actually the white box, old school D&D. Yeah, Holmes. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because I wanted to. If you're trying to bring somebody into the hobby, the last thing you need to do is toss a handful of dice at them, and they're like, "All right, roll a D12," and they're grabbing the D8 and going, "Is this it?" No, two dice.
True.
D6, which everybody knows, if you've played Parcheesi or Monopoly or any of those games, and a D20, which you can explain.
Yeah.
That's the die. So that was why we stuck to just that. The other thing that Swords Wizardry Light doesn't have is it doesn't have negative ability bonuses or penalties. Like if you have a low score, you just have a low score. If you have a high score, 15 or better, you could have a +1. There's nothing else. Again, it's very much like white box where your ability scores can help, but they're not going to be a game changer. You don't need that. You don't want that. You want the characters to thrive on their own.
The game itself definitely has that OSR feel, that old school feel of
it does.
Player agency and player creativity being as important, if not more important, than character stats. Talking about what it doesn't have that white box does, there are several things it has that white box does not. Swords Wizardry White Box did not include a thief, which Light does have. And one of my favorite little touches that Erik did was a high charisma in Light gets you a mook. It gets you a porter or a torchbearer right off the bat, and I think that's hilarious. And if you don't name him Nodwick, you're doing it wrong.
Because really, charisma's a dump stat for most gamers. And I wanted something, but you get +1 to your morale roll or +1 attraction. Nobody rolls that stuff anyway. So what are you going to get from charisma?
I think I should add it to all my old school games.
That
my charisma, you get a flunky.
You get a flunky. To torchbearers and have, D6 -1 hit points. He wears no armor, though you could probably toss him some if you had to, but he's not going to fight. But hold your torch. And he's holding a torch.
And you can customize that to your class. What if you're a wizard with a really inept apprentice, or a fighter with a squire?
Right.
Or you're a halfling with a fat guy who walks around cooking you dinner. It's just a torchbearer, but it doesn't say it has to be a completely bland torchbearer.
I can see a high charisma dwarf, and he's got somebody. Who's that? He says, that's my cousin's kid. I gotta trade him.
Yeah, exactly. And Swords and Wizardry Light has dwarves, elves, and halflings, and it does race and class. And example in Light, because thieves exist, unlike White Box, halflings can be thieves and they're not relegated automatically to being fighters. Same thing with dwarves.
Right. Wait a minute, you say? Okay, never mind.
One of the things I really, really like, because I've seen so many games trying to get bogged down in this, is the equipment. How many game sessions have you guys been in where players spend ungodly amounts of time buying your equipment and just waste
a high run?
Exactly.
The first, doesn't matter how simple it is to roll up a character, they spend all day making sure they got chalk and 50 feet of rope and a mirror.
Every old school game that I run, I make sure there's adventurers packs, a la Swords and Wizardry Light, saying, here's 1, here's 2, pick one.
Yep.
And I did the same thing with their initial starting weapons. Again,
I like that.
Because since weapons are pretty much flavor, it's a dagger here, do D6 -1, longsword D6, two-handed sword D6 +1. But you can choose, fighter, you choose this weapon package and armor and this weapon package and armor. You get a choice. You can change it later on with what you find or buy, but this is what you're going to start with.
Right.
It makes it so much easier.
I'm actually curious, Erik, a question for you about this. leveling aspect of it by, characters progress to second level after, 2 adventures, completing 2 adventures. Right. Now, how did you come up with that progression? Just to save space, kind of, or is that how you do it in your games? Or I'm just curious your method behind that.
The method behind that madness was one concept that I found that new gamers have trouble understanding is experience points.
Right.
And I earn it for what? And what do I have to do? And I got to track this. And for a new DM, that's a whole thing of, that math chart behind the screen as you're trying to figure out everybody's XP. I wanted to simplify things. I wanted to make the play more important than the bookkeeping aspect of experience points. So, as a general guide, if to go from level 1 to level 2 is number of adventures is what your next level is 2. To go from 2 to 3 is another 3 adventures. So as you go up in level, the progress is going to slow down. Now, there's nothing that says that your GM can't say, well, you finished these 3 adventures in this story arc and you kicked the big bad guy. I'm going to award you the equivalent of an extra adventure. Why not? That's like ordering, but that's, comes with the idea of the play.
Right.
Okay. So that's where that came from.
Kind of reminds me of, I want to say, old White Wolf or old D6 kind of had the same concepts going on for it. I mean, they didn't have levels in White Wolf or in WEG, and either did, but they had after so many adventures you get this amount, kind of like that concept.
Uh-huh.
Right, you earned flat points that you would then spend how you chose in the White Wolf and WEG Star Wars.
Right, and to progress your character along, so it's kind of like leveling up if you think about it in a certain.
Right.
That's what it kind of reminds me of, which I found really cool that you did that. So, good job.
Well, thank you. Listen, I know a lot of the argument with the old school gaming is, well, it was the getting the treasure out is more important than the monsters defeated, and that's the whole thing. Well, you know what? Here, getting the treasure out is going to allow you to purchase better weapons or purchase better armor. It's still important, but it doesn't need to be part of that bookkeeping that.
Oh, heck no.
I know when I was gaming back in my teenage days, we didn't enjoy that part.
Of what? Monsters?
Of the bookkeeping aspect of the experience points from the goal and the monsters, and it
the DM
was part of the game, but it wasn't the enjoyable part. It was the work you did to enjoy the game.
Dude, we used to have checklists on our character sheet how many monsters we killed per session. We were always competing. And also,
go ahead, Vince. I'm sorry.
I would just say we were always competing. Go ahead, James.
One of the things about the XP system in Light, it's part of the design element. We're not trying to bog either returning or new gamers down with all that. It's about sitting down, getting right to the meat of it, and just having fun. This is all that other stuff is part of the experience, sure, but the meat of it is getting in there with a sword or a spell. And just, that dungeon crawly, seat of your pants, roll me a D6 and see what happens feel. And that's what SNWL is really all about. And I think the design reflects that if you let it. The minimalist rules will lead a lot of people, especially I think more modern gamers, to say, well, I can't do anything. Whereas it's the opposite. You can do anything. You just have to trust your DM or your referee to give you the opportunity and be able to come up with, based on the rules presented, some semblance of a fair rule.
Right. And Swords Wizardry Light is made to be used in the campaign. Mm-hmm. It certainly supports that, and that's why James and I and Zach are going to work on the rules to expand it to level 7. But after 3 levels, you can move on to complete. You can move on to core or white box. You'll have to adjust some stuff. You'll have picked up enough of the game, or you can just start a whole new campaign. But you'll understand what gaming is if you haven't done it before, and you can then add in the experience points as part of the experience if need be. But not only that, Swords and Wizardry Light is an excellent excellent thing for cons and for pickup games and for stores, especially if a store has a bunch of copies of this. They can hand out a copy to every player. They go home with something now that I came into the store, I played a game for 2 hours, and I'm coming home with something physical that I can use at home and play more games. That's awesome. And for convention play, it's streamlined to allow the the story or the adventure to do what it's supposed to do, which is entertain, and let the rules fall to the side a little bit.
Right.
So.
Right.
When I read it the first time, my first thought was being at a con at 10:30 at night. You run into a couple of buddies, a couple of new friends, and you're like, "Hey guys, you want to do a pickup game?" And even whipping together a BX character can take a bit of time if they don't have pre-gens. Whereas with this, I mean, especially with experienced gamers, you can throw together a character in literally a minute on an index card.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah.
Oh hell yes, I can see that. Yeah, I kept thinking of that the one you're going to do, Erik, the Swords Wizardry, what was it called? Even Lighter.
Extra light.
Oh,
extra light. Thank you. Even lighter. 26 pages plus an adventure, so you have a campaign right there in a book.
Well,
28 pages includes several adventures.
Okay.
The draft as it stands, just the rules, and that is everything. That is races, classes, rules, traps, monsters, spells, magic items, experience levels, a dozen classes. The draft comes in currently at about 14 pages in digest size, 14 digest pages, and then you do a bunch of like one sheet adventures, where one side is the map, the other side is the key to the map, and then you just have a whole campaign in a single 28 page or 32 page digest.
Can you do different campaigns to print with that rule set, and then you sell it? Okay, this everything you need to play in this campaign or this campaign or this campaign.
Well, that should be easy enough to do. Something like this, if you were an independent publisher, like an RPG Now or something that you want to put together a one sheet for Swords Wizardry Light, it should be easy enough to do and put out and sell for pay what you want or whatever. It's made for that. The rules themselves,
right?
It's open game content. And I expect people, especially since we have the Word document up to now, I expect people to hack it. I expect to find somebody to put together some kind of 1920s gangbusters version of it in 4 pages. Why not? Have at it, have fun. It's things I'd like to do with it, and I probably will. But I'm interested to see what the community is going to come up with, because that really is when things like this take on a life of their own. I'm a proud parent, but let my child spread its arms and go.
And that makes me want to do like White Star Light Speed,
James, people have asked me if you're going to do that.
Light speed.
Have they really?
Yes.
Have they really?
I've had 3 people on Facebook direct message me asking me with Swords Wizardry Light, do you think you or James are going to put out like a science fiction, like, White Star version? I was like, I don't know.
I guess now I kind of have to.
There you go. It really is a very versatile format, and it's an intriguing format to play with. I don't think I could have cut any more than I did and have kept the game true to its roots, which was very important. But at the same time, if it was longer, it wouldn't have been as light as it needed to be.
Right.
So
you're absolutely right.
Now I have to ask Erik, because I didn't, when I did some of the writing on this, I didn't add anything to what you did because it's your work and it's your baby. Is there anything you cut that you regretted having to cut?
There's nothing that I cut that I regretted having to cut. The only thing and I'll probably address this on the blog with a post at some point, and probably have it on like a support page I'm working on, is that movement in Swords and Wizardry is a little buggered. Something got lost in the translation with the old D&D rules using feet and inches interchangeably a lot of times.
Uh-huh.
And your Swords and Wizardry characters, if you go by the books, basically move at a snail's pace, literally. I'm going to probably address that as a house rule and probably an optional rule at some point. But other than that, no. It was important for me to add in the thief class, even though it's not in generally what's considered the core rules for original D&D. And I wanted a thief class that wasn't relying on percentile dice, which was important because I don't have percentile dice. So all the abilities were, brought down to a D6 roll, which I think simplifies things.
That's
and makes
great.
It easier for people to think in their head what their chance of success is, as opposed to looking at, well, I got a 21% chance to open locks, but my pickpockets is 15%. Oh, but I'm a dwarf and I can add. It's too complicated. So
but you're wearing this armor, so you have to subtract 5, and it's
no.
Go ahead.
I
like the way you kept the over and under armor class from Swords and Wizardry.
Well, you have to, and that was a whole thing that I was struggling with, because to explain that the dual armor class, which runs high and runs low, so Swords of Wizardry can be compatible with pretty much everything that's out there.
Right.
I struggled initially saying, is this going to cost me a lot of space to explain? And actually, it didn't require a lot of space to explain. Once I hashed it out with Zach, and James, I'm not sure if you might have had a little bit of a rewrite.
Oh yeah, the AC chart in that I hacked that up and made it work, because Zach had a full -9 to +9, and I was like, dude, no, you don't need that. Look at the ACs of your monsters that you're including. That's all you need.
Right. The other thing that was assumed with Swords and Wizardry Light, the initial 4-page release, it doesn't include any magic items.
No.
So
but I'm glad you addressed it in there.
Yeah. Well, because the idea with the magic items is, again, those third-party publishers that are going to put things out for it, explain that item in a sentence or two. Magic should be unique to a large extent anyway when it comes to items, and this way they will be. No player's going to pick up the 4 pages of the core rules and go, well, I want my +2 sort of light slaying. Well, if your DM makes one up, you'll have one, but it's not in those rules.
I got to tell you, the only reason I look up magic items and things like that is, where's the healing potions? That's all I thought of was, how do you do the healing potions?
That's always your thing, Glenn, healing potions.
Yeah, because I like to stay alive.
Is it D6 +1? Is it 2D4 +2?
Yeah. So, all right, monsters, Erik. What made you decide on the monsters that you do have here? Because some of them are staples. Well, some of them I don't consider staples. So I want to hear your reasoning behind them.
Yes, Glenn?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you were going to. The reason why we have the monsters that we have, and I'm going to go with one. The Wyvern. That's there for a very specific reason. I needed something that was dragon-like.
But not a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Because, now if it's 8 hit dice, if a third-level character encounters that in a group, unless they have very good tactics, they're probably not going to survive. That's where they're going to have to learn the what OSR can sometimes stand for, which is OS run. That's something that players have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to keep an assortment of creatures that could fit into modules or adventures or encounters that GMs would be able to run with. I needed something that would pretty much fit on a page.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the biggest thing to do was to work on the monster descriptions and trim them down, because some of them were huge compared to the space that I had available. Also, Yes, and also I want something where people could look at it and, look at kobolds. Kobolds are subterranean, vaguely goblin-like humanoids. You got a sentence describing them. You can go with that. You have enough as the DM to run with not so much that will bog you down.
I love orcs. Orcs are stupid. When I first read that, I started laughing out loud. I'm like, orcs are stupid. Okay, I got it.
Look one above. Ogres are normally quite stupid.
Yeah.
My favorite stupid book of a race is gnolls, and I'm glad you put them in there.
Listen, I have my own favorites. I like gnolls. I like ghouls. Ghouls are such a very flexible.
Oh, undead, I love them.
Yeah, so we have the core undead of ghouls, skeletons, zombies.
And I like gnolls because I read the description once. It says they're not that bright, and they always thinking with their stomach.
Oh,
so
okay.
Immediately I thought of Wile E. Coyote.
Super genius.
So I thought, yeah, they're kind of on that level.
But most of the creatures I did include are intelligent. They're not. You have giant fire beetles and giant rats because I have to include rats. But there's a lot of bipedals, the trolls, the ogres, the orcs, hobgoblins, kobolds, lizardmen, gnolls, ghouls, dryads, bugbears, because you can place them almost anywhere.
Right.
Well, and one of the things you can do with the monsters listed, like if you take a giant rat out of SNWL, and then you give him the poison ability from a giant spider, and then you just call it a giant centipede, your players aren't going to know the difference.
Right.
This is true.
That is an easy way to hack. Again, if somebody's writing adventures for this, and there are other creatures they want to create, or just grab stuff from the OGL and convert it to Swords Wizardry Light, you'll be adding to the whole library for people to pull from. It can only be good.
True. I was looking through my hard disk here on my gaming folder and looking for other games that have something like this, and I've seen a couple, but they're not a whole lot out there. For say Labyrinth Lord or Lamentations of the Flame Priestess or these other clones.
Right.
And I think you're one of the only ones that is doing a light thing.
Well, the thing is, there are other rule sets out there that pull off from the OGL and try to be a very light fantasy RPG in 2 pages, but you are not gonna. I needed, when I did this, I needed something that people would look at and say, "This is D&D. This is what I played when I was gaming back in 1982 in high school." And the other light games that I've seen, and some of them are well done, didn't have that. So to be able to put something out there that people can read and say, yes, this is the game that I played, 35, 40 years ago, in 4 pages, that was a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the end result, but I'm also proud because I had great people working with me to get me to this point.
Oh yeah, that's an all-star cast right there.
Oh yeah, you can't fail with that. That's like, oh yeah, you could re-roll a failed saving throw 3 times with those people working with you.
I beg to differ. I remember some of my early stuff, and I wouldn't. Oh God.
Well, here, James, this is my early stuff. So
if this is your early stuff, yeah, I'm scared to see what you're doing in 5 years, because you're going to put some of the best in the community to shame.
But that's because I got to work with people that actually know what they're doing. When you started, James, was there anybody there to literally hold your hand?
No, I started with Open Office and Paint.
Okay. I had Zach Laser and you holding my hand. It's like learning how to ride a bike with both your parents in training wheels. it was hard to fail, and I was I really am in debt.
I had my wife saying, if you want to keep buying gaming books, you have to make more money.
Oh, damn. Don't tell Race that.
That was literally the genesis for Barrel Rider games. My wife went, look, you can't keep buying gaming books at this rate. You have to make more money.
Why do you think I started YouTube videos?
And then, well, now she's like, I've created a monster because now I can pretty much, afford to buy what I want. But on the other side of it, it allows, her to stay home with our kid, which is a wonderful gift.
That is awesome.
That's the greatest gift I've ever gotten from the OSR community is my wife is able to be a stay-at-home mother, and I love this community, and they've really embraced SNWL. Like, I mean, within a day of its release, people were already started hacking away at adventures for it. I know the day after it was released, the next morning, I wrote one. I know there's a couple other guys who've written them.
Tim Brannon wrote a witch class for it. And if you know Tim Brannon,
of course, Tim did.
Got to be a witch class from Tim, because but no, and it was, very well done. Tom Wilson, he's working on some short adventures for SWL. Tim Shorts is working on an adventure in I think it's like a mini setting too.
Old Gothridge Manor.
Yes. This is seeing the community embrace something that I got to put out there and make it part of their own.
I know.
There's nothing better.
That's
really.
We're so proud of you.
Why, thank you.
We're so damn proud of you.
Our little dwarf finally grew his beard.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm growing a goatee, and my niece Shannon wants me to grow a ponytail.
Oh, no.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
No.
Eric.
The next thing you know, you'll be wearing socks with sandals.
Yeah.
Oh, no. My father does that. I refuse to.
I'm always tempted to go up to Frank Minzer when I see him in a con and go, get a haircut, you hit.
If I ever got to meet Frank, I would just be like, Frank Manser, and then I'd fall over and die.
You sound like my roommate from last year's North Texas Con, Robin Irwin. It's like for like a half a day to a day, he was total fanboy. I'd be there sitting there with Tim and Frank or talking to people. You go, da 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 da.
Well, that's just it, man. Of all of them, if I ever got to meet Tim Kask, I'd be afraid he'd jump across the table, punch me in the face, and be like, "Game harder," because he's just that hardcore.
Oh God. But actually, that was my first North Texas. That was me when Frank. During the auction, and the one that lost the bidding to Bill Webb's son on those wooden dice set is none other than Erik Tenkar from Tenkar's Tavern. I'm like, oh my god, I can't sink into the seat fast enough.
He's still geeking out over the first night we were in the bar, and he was talking with Diesel and somebody, Larry Elmore, about artist rights because he's a lawyer. So they were I'll sit there talking artist rights, and I still hear about that.
Yeah. But
one day I'll get out to an NTRPG. God, I want to go to one so bad, more than any other con out there.
With open arms.
Oh, I know. It's like these are my people, and I can't get out there because I'm 2,000 miles away.
I know.
I hope to see you there someday. We're having a lot of fun. You should try it.
I trust me, I want to. I submitted Hero's Journey for consideration this year for 3 castles. I hope it does well.
Hope it does too. I'm running a gangbusters game.
Unless I hit the lottery, I'm not getting out there this year.
Oh, we gotta hit you in the OSR lottery. We gotta get you a new release out there.
Yeah, no kidding. No,
I still gotta get Hero's Journey.
Did you grab the PDF?
I do have the PDF. I'm trying to save up for a print copy. If I get a print copy, I can do a review. And it just looks so damn intriguing.
It's very well done.
It plays well, but the high lethality tends to throw people off. Oh, it's just a bunch of goblins. No, Jack. A bunch of goblins are something to be afraid of, even if you're 10th level. But this isn't about Heroes Journey. This is about Swords Wizardry Light, which is amazing, and everyone should grab it. It's free. You don't have an excuse. If you want a physical, grab something from Frog God Games because they're awesome. Right. I'd recommend grabbing Bard's Gate because then you can have Tenkar's Tavern in your Swords and Wizardry Light game because Tenkar's Tavern is in Bard's Gate.
Yeah, it is. Wow. Also, if you can be going to, I guess, Gary Con, I will be at Gary Con, thanks to my wonderful friends at Frog God Games. Yay. And I believe the expectation is I'll be there to sign some Swords and Wizardry Light, which means that they'll be at the Frog God table being given away.
Yes. Please go get your Swords and Wizardry Light.
And what do you have to lose? If nothing else, you'd be, I don't want to learn to play D&D. It's too complicated. And you can be like, really? And hold up a folder.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You can put your character sheet right in here and never lose it.
That's right.
You can always lose a character sheet. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, I do believe that part of the plan is to get some Swords and Wizardry Light into some physical retail locations, like your friendly local game store who wants to carry Frog God products.
You know what I ought to do for you? I ought to resurrect something I haven't done for a long time. I made for Basic and 2E, 1E pocket mod character sheets.
Really?
And I ought to do that for Swords and Wizardry Light. And it's like, great, you make it, fold it, fill out your character sheet, stick it in your wallet.
There you go. I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to have to dig those out and see if I can rejigger them for Swords.
You know it would be neat, Eric.
What?
Business cards printed up like blank SNWL character sheets.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very interesting.
Because they're a little more durable. You can stick it in your wallet and be like, I got my character. And there you go.
And if you can't do it that small, postcards. You know how they're always handing out postcards with booths with pictures and stuff on it? I'm just looking at the Lloyd Metcalf's postcard he gave to me. I go, yeah, postcards too.
Well, and
SNW Light postcards.
And that would actually be pretty good because, when using Swords and Wizardry Light at a convention, I don't see pre-gens being given out. It defeats the purpose of the rules. If you can create a character, even as a novice, in 5 minutes, own it.
Oh, yeah.
Have a character that you created, not like, oh, you're playing, Gary, the 2nd level thief. No, roll it. And then,
Aw. But if I want to play Gary, the 2nd level thief?
Well, then roll it, damn you!
You don't have to be a rude TM.
Yes, the tavern master, because
He's the bouncer, too.
No, the bouncer is the badger. I just serve the drinks. And
the badger is the bouncer. I forgot I did that.
The bouncer. The bouncer is the bouncer.
And Bard's Gate, the badger, is the bouncer.
Oh, wow.
In Tenkar's Tavern.
That is something.
I forgot about that.
How could you forget about it?
Dude, you know me. I'm on to the next project before I'm finished the first.
That's, I really have to thank James, by the way, one final time, because I was asked to write my own section for Bard's Gate, and I just couldn't do it. So the professional stepped in and saved my hiney.
Good for him.
It was fun. I also slipped a halfling in there to annoy the badger because I could. But speaking of annoying your players and having fun with them, I mean, grab some Swords and Wizardry Light. If you can't get out to a con or don't have the cash to pick something up on the Frog God website, it's free. We'll have links in the show notes. Print it out, slap it on a manila folder, and be like, hey, want to play some D&D? I mean, you could even say that to a total stranger. It might get awkward, but you never know.
This is true. This is true.
If you get in trouble doing that, don't blame me. Okay?
No, blame Glenn.
All right.
Why not?
Yeah, and shut up, Glenn.
Why not?
I think that'll bring this episode of Save or Die Expert Edition to a close.
Was that the most interesting time you guys have ever had on a podcast? No. I think it was.
I don't know if it's the most interesting, but certainly the most entertaining and the most fun I've had.
Yes.
It's definitely the most entertaining. Eric's got photographic evidence to it not being the most interesting, but we won't talk about that.
That wasn't a podcast. That was an online game session.
And get Swords Wizardry Light, and you will go to heaven.
You'll go into gaming heaven, maybe, but I don't know if you'll actually.
You die. You flash that St. Peter, you're in.
This is not touched by an angel, Sword and Wizardry Light. Okay, so knock it off, Glenn.
Touched by Glenn.
Whoa.
It's like get into heaven free card. What can I say?
Stay away from the light. Don't go to the light.
This house is clear. Okay, anyway.
All right. Does anybody have any closing remarks before we head on out?
We love kobolds.
Smoke them if you got them.
Folks, thank you so much, and please enjoy the rules. They're there for you.
Yes. Yeah, grab Swords Wizardry Light, and it'll lead to wonderful gaming and hopefully other games and more fun, and you'll have a blast.
That's right.
And until then, have a good evening, folks.
Vince?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Should I end the way I usually do?
Well, you can end in a second here. I just want to give a quick couple things. Facebook.com/Save or Die Podcast. You can visit us on there. We respond to all queries. You can go to our website, saveordie.info, for our webpage. Follow us on Twitter, Save or Die Staff. And we're going to say goodnight, and Glenn, take us out.
Good night, everybody.